How do we go from a shop that's always ran a 3-axis machine, get up to a 5-axis automated cell? You know, there's a lot you can go there, right? Mm-hmm. One of the great advantages of LK machinery in particular is because of our die casting and plastic injection machinery making background, we already have automation engineers in spades.
I'm here at LK Machinery, standing in front of this beautiful 5-axis machine with my buddy Andy. Andy, I want to know, what was this machine even made to do? Like, who's going to benefit from using a machine like this?
That's a really great question. And I think where this comes into the marketplace, not only competitive on price, but everybody's understanding the need for 5-axis, right? 3-axis is great, 4-axis is better. But if you can get the 5 sides of a prism or whatever, or even do window type machining, it's going to take a 5-axis to get it done. Yeah. And it's really the wave of the future. People are finding the value in these machines because of the ROI is there when you purchase it. Yeah. If you need a 5-axis machine, you already know you need a 5-axis machine. And that's the real key. But actually what we're trying to get done is get a machine that's very practical, because it's not the one machine that's got so much uplift on the control and everything. We're trying to make that practical in the marketplace. And that's really where we're trying to position this particular unit.
Yeah, and I mean, ROI is huge. And positioning is very important as well, especially when you're trying to find the right place for the machine tools, so that the shops out there know which machine tools they even need to keep growing, to bring more manufacturing back here to North America. When we're looking at this machine, when it comes to 5-axis, what's something you find people misunderstand about 5-axis machining?
That's a good question. People with 5-axis machining in the back of their mind likely have seen something on YouTube, or they've seen something on LinkedIn or something, or maybe a manager has come to them and said, "Hey, we got to have these," you know. But then they don't realize how much work it takes to make one actually function in a real shop. You have to understand now you've got 2 more axes, whether it's an A or a C or a B or a C or an A and a B, whatever it is. You've got to understand how to make that functional. One of the great advantages of a 5-axis machine, for example, I had a customer some years ago. They were doing multiple parts, one part through multiple machines. And I think it was like 12 hours, involved 4 machines. It's a huge problem. We got that down to 3 hours on one machine touched one time. So that's where the advantage is. And so it's not just about, you know, what's the price of the machine. But of course, the quality's got to be there. We wouldn't even be having this discussion, service and all those things. But what is it practical in your shop? Now we're thinking in a new world. Yeah. And it's a whole different thing. As things change, as things progress, even with 3D metal printing, things like that, we get that advantage of going right into a 5-axis machine, doing a little bit of final machining, for example. Another great application is getting your 3D metal printed part, put it in your 5-axis mill, finish it up and be done. And that's another thing where it just differentiates you from your competitor.
Yeah, and differentiation is huge. So when it comes to LK, what's something when it comes to the control options that might differentiate you to some of the competitors out there?
In the United States market, we've always worked with the FANUC brand. Yeah. Everybody knows FANUC, and that's a real advantage because their FANUC 5-axis control is really a great control.
Super powerful control.
Very powerful, very strong, and very capable, but also, again, goes back to practical. Practical for the everyday shop. I had an experience some years ago where a mom and pop shop, nice place up in Dayton, Ohio, did a great job, had a whole crew, had a lot of just 3-axis machines, right? And they got talked into buying the world's top class 5-axis, whiz bang, everything. And the problem with that was nobody in their shop knew how to make that machine do what it needed to do.
That doesn't help anyone.
Helps no one. So you lose that practicality. So it's really the practical step between going from a standard 3-axis machine. Where is that stepping stone to go up? How do we get there? This is a great option for that particular environment.
when we're talking about helping this fit into the shops out there, one of the common things that we're talking about right now, Andy, is automation.
Yes.
So how does LK and how does this 5-axis fit into an automation solution that the shops out there might be looking at?
That's one question we hear a lot about is automation. Everybody talks about automation, and I'm all for automation. And really, even a 3-axis machine is automation, right? But how do we go, again, let's get back to practical. How do we go from a shop that's always ran a 3-axis machine, get up to a 5-axis automated cell? You know, there's a lot you can go there, right? One of the great advantages of LK machinery in particular is because of our die casting and plastic injection machinery making background, we already have automation engineers in spades, because you have to do that with die cast. You don't put for example, the 16,000 ton Dream Press that we just initiated this year, that has a ton of automation that came with that. So the background and the information, you're not hiring a company to do your automation that is like, oh, I hope this works out okay. No, we already got this down in spades. So you get to bring that to the 5-axis machines. If you're setting up a cell, maybe it's a die casting facility. You already got die casting machines. You're getting ready to set up some cells for, machining aluminum alloys, for example.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to bring that right in here. We know what it takes to automate a cell. So in automotive machining, places like that, your standard job shop, all those things work, but we bring that advantage to the customer. Again, you've got to have a great machine. You've got to have reliable service, and you've got to get it at a good price. And that's what we really try to do. But our automation is really unique because of our background in die casting.
You know, honestly, man, that's something I didn't think about till we were here today talking about it. Automation's been common in die cast for like 50, 60 years at this point.
Right.
That means you've got people in automation at LK that have only ever known automation for their entire careers.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because that's what we've always done. You just can't do die casting without automation. So why not leverage a company that already has all that background, already has that real world experience to put your cell together with your automated. And one of our videos that's playing down there, you'll get to see where it's actually doing a whole automated cell with the VM2 line. It's a beautiful video.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Andy.
I appreciate it, Arthur. Thank you.